Transit Fans, and I'm here with Pollyman. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is George Carroll Wilson. I'm the songwriter and lead singer and guitarist of Pollyman.
So when and why did you start performing?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Technically, I started performing before I was born, when my mum was pregnant with me and would play with me on stage in her womb. But I started performing myself when I was about 2, not professionally, but my mum signed me up for performing
Starting
arts.
early.
Yeah, Shining Stars it was called, in Ocean Grove, and that kind of got me hooked on it. And I started playing music professionally when I was about 11 or 12 in my first band. And I've been doing it ever since then, so 15 years.
God damn.
Yeah,
You're
but I
going
haven't
long
thought of
run,
that before.
exactly. Damn. What's your creative process like?
It varies. It usually starts either with like a vocal melody or when I'm just noodling on the guitar, and I'll come up with like a chord sequence or a riff or something and be like, that's cool, I like that. And if I'm in the mood, which happens only occasionally, I'll finish it there and then, and I'll have a song come out of it. But usually it comes from me just coming up with little ideas like melodies or lyrics and writing them down or recording them, and then coming back to them later when I sort of am in that songwriting mindset. And then I flesh them all out myself, like guitars, drums and bass, and then present them to the band.
What like aesthetic do you want for Pollyman? Like, what do you want it to represent?
Okay, so there's this term that I heard about recently called piss elegance, which I heard for the first time in a book about David Bowie. It turns out it was a term used pretty loosely in the early 70s in London, which it kind of... The idea was it was sort of elegance and class, but a really poor version of it, because everyone was super skint and made their own clothes and shopped at secondhand stores and that kind of thing, but still strove for, class and glamour, but it was kind of a trashy version.
Yeah.
So I think trashy glamour is the way that I would best describe, at least what I want to go for. But I'm still collecting fishnets and corsets, so I'm working on it.
I love that though. I absolutely love that. Of course, David Bowie is where we hear it from.
The man.
I love David Bowie so much.
Good.
Absolutely love him. What's been your best and worst show by far?
Ooh.
And why?
Of my own or in general?
In general.
The worst one I ever did was Paco Fest with my brother, Fen Wilson. I played drums with him, and it was a wet day, and they'd set us up on a truck, and the bed of which was about that deep, and so you had to fit 3 men on this thing. And it started raining while we were playing, and I was sitting in the perfect position that when this tarp that was above us sort of started to dip because of all the water it had collected, it formed this perfect stream, this like thick, heavy stream of water that ran straight down my back. And so my choices were either leaning forward like this and it just going down my pants, or leaning back like this and it going down my back. And either way, I was soaked, and it sucked so much. But it was sort of comically bad, which was kind of a plus side to it. We just got in the car afterwards and we just like laughed because we were like, that was unbelievable. And the best one I've ever played, I think, would be the last and first full band Pollyman show, which happened at the Punters Club a couple of weeks ago, of this date a couple of weeks ago. Because it had just been like 4 years in the making of, putting a band together and finding the right people and rehearsing and writing, and it all just sort of came to a peak at that show, I think. And I dressed up in a way I'd never done before and really sort of went for it. And just everyone in the crowd was great, and I rode some shoulders and shook many hands, and it was really fun.
Yeah, I actually saw quite a few videos from that show and it looked amazing. I was a bit sad that I couldn't make it there, but it looked so good. It looked really good. We're here tonight, so it's fine. We'll see you tonight. How are you feeling about tonight's show as well?
I'm feeling good. I'm fluctuating between sort of, I think, false calm and then overwhelming nerves, but also excitement And it's this sort of feeling that I haven't had in a really, really long time, which is kind of nice, but also a lot to deal with, because I've been playing for so long. Nerves, like my relationship with nerves has gotten pretty distant, and they usually don't really kick in unless it's a really big gig or something. But my nerves recently for Pollyman have been huge, and I think that's just because it's all so new, and it feels like, even though I've been playing these songs for years, I'm playing them and hearing them in a way that I'm not used to. And it's exciting, but that sort of presents itself as sort of nerves and jitteriness.
It's normal.
And stuff.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Exactly. And how do you prepare for gigs?
I don't really know. There's not a consistent... I ignore the fact that I'm playing one until I have to play it.
Yeah.
That sort of helps. And then I'll go put my costume on, my makeup on, and just pace around, usually. Find a spot on the floor to stare at and just sort of think about stuff. I'll do a little bit of singing, and then I go on and just hope it all goes well.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We love that though. How do you see the Aussie music community evolving into the future?
How do I see it evolving?
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. I've been talking about that a lot with musician friends of mine, and just friends and peers, whatever. And how it's hard. I really don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
I'm kind of choosing not to worry about it too much, because I feel like you can get stuck in like comparing and stressing where it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So, and I've always kind of felt like I've been outside the scene a bit anyway, so I'm not too concerned about the scene. It's cool to see like indie bands still succeeding in ways. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just, as long as I'm sort of booking gigs and that kind of thing, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, just concerned more like about where you're going.
Yeah. I think so, because the scene is really hard to keep track of, and
exactly, it is.
Yeah, like I said, it's like I don't really even know where I fit into it.
Yeah.
So I've chosen instead to just worry about myself.
As you should.
Thank you.
You should.
Yeah.
If you made a rumor about yourself, what would it be?
Ooh. Okay, so a fact about me is that I play guitar upside down and the wrong way around. And actually, this was cooked up by me and my sister, that if I were to start a rumor about myself, like if I went on a talk show or something like that, and they were like, so what's the deal with the guitar? Why is it upside down? I'd say, well, it's because I actually see everything upside down, and I've just gotten used to it. My eyes are a scientific anomaly. I don't have the reflectors in the back that flips everything the right way up, so the world is upside down to me, and playing guitar like that is the only way that it makes sense. So that would be my rumor, I think.
That's honestly a really good one.
Or that me and all of the band members are related, but I think it'd be harder to believe that given the amount of blue eyes in the band. But that's okay.
You're just all like siblings, easy. Yeah, for sure.
Different
for sure.
dads.
Yeah, exactly. Half
something
siblings.
like that. Yeah.
You could go with that. Exactly.
Yeah.
A bit of a silly one. What's your favourite Coles aisle?
My favorite what?
Coles aisle.
Ooh. Coles aisle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Deli.
The deli?
Deli, yeah. Like the sort of the cold bain marie with all the cheeses and fish and stuff.
Yeah.
Always a good time in the deli aisle. Or spreads. Like peanut butter and Nutella and stuff. I think those two.
Of course. Go-to decision, to be honest.
Thank you.
Very good decision.
Thank you very much.
How do you see yourself as an artist evolving into the future?
I'd like to get back in the studio and focus more on recording at some point in the future. I think for now I'm happy to just sort of keep evolving as a live artist with a band that, this is like our second show tonight. So doing just more of that and getting more comfortable with the band, and hopefully start putting out records before too long. Because it feels bad telling people who say, when are you putting an album out? It's like, I have no idea. Sorry.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. That's what I say. Hopefully soon.
Last question, is there anything to promote or say to anyone watching?
Now,
No.
Just stay tuned. We're playing around Melbourne like more and more, and hopefully we'll get out of Melbourne before too long, like down to Mornington or Bellarine Peninsula, or maybe even interstate at some point.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. But yeah, just keep coming to gigs and keep making me feel better. That's all I ask.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. This has been Bads Fans. Bye.